Thank you for listening to my podcast. My name is Sylvie, and I want to start this podcast by telling you that I received a lot of questions about what helped me in my journey. To answer these questions, I wrote an ebook about the 7 things that helped me the most. You can download it for free and receive it right away in your inbox. Click on the link in the description or go to my website, theconcussioncommunity.com is the first thing you will see. I hope it's helping you. For now, let's continue with this episode. Last week, I shared on Instagram in a story if you have any questions you want me to answer, so I could make this podcast. So I collected all the questions and I am really happy to answer them in this podcast. The first question I received was: do you get any worse symptoms after a beer or a glass of wine? Yes, I do. Most of the time, let's say 70% of the time, I do feel worse after drinking, even if it's just one glass of wine. I, most of the time I don't feel well afterwards, and especially when I drink before going to bed, I wake up many times during the night. It makes me dizzy, it makes me nauseous. It's just not worth it because I just don't want to feel off the next day. And yeah, sometimes I do drink, but most of the time it's once a month and that's it. And then only 1 or 2 glasses. And yeah, to be honest, I always regret drinking. And I just know that it's not helping in my recovery. So yeah, I do get worse after drinking a beer or a glass of wine. And I don't know the science behind this, but it's just my experience, and I'm not sure if other people experience the same, but it's a thing that I often hear in my community as well, that people do get worse after drinking. And it just doesn't feel right for me to drink that often because it feels like I'm slowing down my recovery. And yeah, I just want to stay or eat and drink healthy. And yeah, that's really important for me. And the second question was, how long how long do you manage to use or work on screens before you take breaks? Good question. It depends. In the beginning of my journey, I think I couldn't manage even 5 minutes. It was just too much. And I remember just watching my phone. It was giving me really a feeling of a pressure on my head. Felt like I had this elastic band around my head, and it was really hard. And my eyes, they were so tired, and I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know my eyes were affected as well. So the only thing I noticed was, okay, screens are really hard for me. And I think after maybe 2 years, I found finally some relief in this, and I started doing eye therapy, what I did for a year, and I felt improvements, and I felt that I could work or just watch my phone a little bit longer. And now with this community that I had to run it, I can, yeah, I think for one day, it depends on the day, because on some days I feel better than the other days, of course. But on a normal, let's say a normal day, I can watch a screen for maybe 3 or 4 hours, but I really have to take breaks in between. And I try to take a break after, let's say, 30 minutes. And sometimes I'm just so into my computer that I don't notice that there's already a 1 hour past. But I really try to take breaks every 30 minutes so that my eyes get a little bit more rest. And it helps me when I take the breaks. It's really important for your eyes to reset a little bit. And I really notice a difference when I don't take the break. When I just continue watching the screen, my symptoms are getting worse. So yeah. And another question I got was, what are your best rest tips? My best rest tips are Meditation. I like to take some breaks and put on my headset and listen to a guided meditation. There are many of them on YouTube. And I love the meditations that are guided with some stress relief or anxiety relief, or a meditation that is focusing on your breath. It makes me really more in peace. And also yoga. I love to do the more gentle yoga, like yin yoga or restorative yoga. And yoga nidra is more of a sleep yoga. That's what I like as well. I also like to go outside to have some walks in nature. That's really helping me as well. Or just doing nothing, just sitting on the couch, drink a cup of tea, and just make sure that there's no noise, or yeah, just no one around me who can distract me. Just me sitting on the couch. That's helping me as well. Um, Another question: Does does the elastic band around your head feeling and lightheadedness ever go away? Um, yeah, I felt this elastic band around my head for almost a year in the beginning, and what really helped me was doing interval training. Um, it's like an exercise when you. I always do them like this. Um First I'm warming up, then I give everything I have for like 30 seconds or 1 minute, and then I slow down doing nothing, focus on my breath, and when I feel ready again, I will give everything I have again and slow down after it, and do some rounds of this, and it really helps me, to get rid of this feeling of elastic band around my head. But I tell more in the community about how I do the interval training. I made a video about it, how I do that, and it's just really helping me. If I don't do them, I really notice a difference. And yeah, so I believe that feeling can go away, and yeah, just doing the right things is so important. And what also helped me was after the interval training to do cognitive exercises like um, or multitasking exercise like memory games, Sudoku games, yeah, all kind of cognitive exercises. You can just type it in on Google, and there will be a lot of examples. Just doing them for 15 minutes after my interval training helped me a lot as well. Another question was, how do you deal with the setbacks from concussions as an athlete? Well, I'm not an athlete, but I can tell you more about how I deal with my setbacks. My setbacks, yeah, it's it's really hard to have a setback, and it's really hard to deal with them when you don't expect getting them anymore. I remember many times that I was feeling really great for a few days, and then I thought, oh, this is the new me. I am getting better. I will never have a setback again. I felt like that many times, and then just without of nowhere, there was a setback again. And sometimes I just didn't know where they came from. Sometimes I do, and when I do, I am more okay with my setbacks. But if there is a setback and I really don't know where they're coming from, it's just really hard to deal with it because you're disappointed again. You don't know how to deal with it, and you don't know how to prevent them the next time. So in the beginning, it was really hard for me to deal with them, and they are way worse in the beginning than they are now. When I have a setback right now, I feel off, and I don't feel good, and I don't want to do anything, and I don't want to go outside my house to see people. But in the beginning, when I had a setback, I was just really sick. I had to cry all day. I just didn't know why. I couldn't watch my screens. I was getting nauseous. So in the beginning, I was really sick. But at this moment, I am just more off. And So it's a little bit easier now to deal with them. But in the beginning, the only way I could deal with them was staying at home, not seeing any people, avoid screens, and just crying a lot. I think it's a way of your body to let go of your emotions, and I wasn't okay with that during that time. But when I look back, I see this crying feeling or emotional feeling is just maybe you just need it to get better. um just when you have a setback, just try not to fight against it, because it takes a lot of energy to fight against your setback, and it doesn't make the setback shorter. So just rest, be gentle with yourself. Maybe just write down how you feel. Or what also really helped me was to also write down on very good days how I felt, and just when I'm in this setback, to read those notes back, so I can see, okay, I know there are good days as well, and it's not always like this, and I know it's just temporary. I know there are some good days coming my way, and I really try to stay positive. And I am also using my affirmations in the morning. So I really love doing them. I try to do some yoga on those days, or listen to a book that gives me energy. That's how I deal with them. And another question I got was, do you think treating emotional issues like anxiety and depression during a TBI with pharmaceuticals is wrong? Um, well, I'm not a big fan of using medicines. I never did this myself, because I really believe my body should be able to handle it, themselves. But I do understand if people have some positive effects from it. So I don't want to give like there's no one good answer for this, and it depends on the person, because for some people it can really help. For me, it didn't. But again, we are everyone different, and I think the most important thing is to follow your feeling about this, and just to feel if it does feel right for you. I always felt it isn't right for me, I don't want to. But if you really feel I need this and I think it would help me, you can always give it a try and just notice how you feel using them. Another question I got is, I feel that I delayed many things in life, getting in a relationship and higher education. Yes, I totally feel this. I had a feeling that my life was on pause for a very long time. I think my first 3 years after my concussion, it felt like I was just standing still on pause, and everything in the world was passing and moving on. And it felt like I missed so many things. It felt like I missed steps in my work, also relationships. I was single for 5 years because I just didn't have the energy for dating. I just wanted to be alone. I just couldn't handle another person in my life. Same for relationship with friends. I had to stop some of them because it was just too much. And before my accident, I saw a lot of people. I was always busy, but I had to make some choices. And some people, they were still in a good match in my life before my accident, but after my accident, they weren't, because they were still interested in partying, in drinking, going to festivals. But that was a thing I couldn't do anymore. So it felt like we didn't have that much more in common. And I believe when you sustain something like this, it's just harder to, or you just get to know your friends. And it's maybe a little bit hard, but it is just what it is. And right now I see that the friends I still have, they are closer than before. And I think it's not a negative thing to focus just on a few people instead of a lot of people. So I totally get this point. And the same for the higher education. I completed my degree. So this wasn't a topic for me, but I know that it's really hard for people who are just in their school, and they can finish it. It's really hard. But I believe it's maybe just on pause. It's maybe something you can pick up later, but the health is the most important thing. And yeah, it's really important to focus on that first before you can focus on the education, on your work again, because without your health, you are nowhere. And it isn't easy, but it's something that gets easier over time. That's what I believe. Another question I got is, how do you explain to people in your life what concussion is like? Well, this is really, really hard. I didn't even try to explain it in the beginning. I just didn't know myself what was going on, so I just didn't know how to explain it to others. But I tried to explain it in my one of my blogs, and yeah, I try to explain every symptom, but it's just really hard because some people who are not on the same page, they just don't get it. But I will try to explain it here as well. Let's say the nauseousness, it feels like it's getting nauseous from a boat trip, but then that feeling all the time. How I explain my eye problems, it feels like if you are looking through a camera and noticing the moment it's adjusting to make the object sharp, but then this feeling all the time, that's how it felt for me. And this blurry vision, it felt like it was opening my eyes underwater. And I know it's really hard to describe, but yeah, just a blurry vision. It's for people who have a concussion, they know what I mean, but it's so hard to describe for people who doesn't. And the ringing ears, it was say how you describe. Yeah, do you remember going to a place with some loud music and coming home afterwards? You have this noise in your ear. Well, a little bit of this feeling, but then all day or for hours. And another symptom, when I felt really tired or exhausted, it feels like a little bit like a bad hangover. You just you want to do things, but you don't have the energy for it, and you just want to lay down, and yeah, then you can't do anything. And it feels like a bad jet lag maybe as well. But yeah, also really hard to explain. It's not just tired; it's really really exhausted. And fatigue. It feels like when someone wakes you up in the middle of the night, let's say 4 a.m., you I bet you will be disoriented, but then this feeling for the entire day, and then it sounds like, okay, if you go to bed early again, this feeling would disappear. But what if you wake this person up again at 4 a.m. again and again and again every night? I'm sure you will be not feeling very well, and you don't have a clear mind. So let's say that's the best way I can describe the fatigue feeling. Then the sound sensitivity. It's like when someone is screaming in your ears at the same time, the loud music is going on, and then everything at the same time, very loud. It feels like just this volume button is turned up to the absolute max. And you feel like you just want to cover your ears, or thinking about earplugs. It's just everything is too loud. But this is also a symptom you just can't describe to someone who is not feeling the same. The light sensitivity. Well, have you ever looked into the flash of a camera? It's just not a nice feeling, right? So, what if you're sitting in a darker room with some candles and someone is pushing a flashlight just in an unexpected moment? You just want to cover your eyes and squeeze them, right? So that's also with light sensitivity, but then just with a normal light. I also explained this to my friends. So when you, for example, when you went clubbing until the early morning and you set your first step outside the dark club into daylight, you just want to cover your eyes, right? So I have this feeling with just normal lights, with screens sometimes. It's really really hard. And also this the other symptom, the feeling overwhelmed symptom. um, it's it's just, for example, if you have to do a task for work, but if your kids are still are screaming in the background, um, your phone and the doorbell are ringing, a friend next to you is just asking you questions, and all of this at the same time. So you will really lose your focus. I bet you will feel overwhelmed, and it will give you a stress feeling. And I often got this feeling with just a very simple task, just one task at a time. And feeling overwhelmed in a busy place can be something different. It feels like you are at a festival, it's too busy, the music is too loud, it's get busier and busier. It feels like there is no escape. You can't get out of the crowd and you're getting crushed, and the adrenaline is burning and your breath is short and you feel very anxious. And this feeling, I often felt like that in a normal situation. Then the memory problems, it's like having a hangover without enjoying the party, of course. You drank too much, you can't remember the whole evening. That's how I felt, maybe a little bit. And I think that are most of the symptoms that I was experiencing. I hope I described it. I described it good. I will explain, or I will read my blog about my symptoms out loud in another episode. But I hope this will help you for now. Another question I got is, where can I join your real community? So for the people who don't know, there is another real community besides this Instagram page, beside my podcast. I have my website, the concussioncommunity.com. And if you click on join the community on top of the page, you can subscribe there, choose a plan, and become a member. So, but still, if you have any problems finding it, please let me know. I can help you. Another question I got is, do you often experience setbacks after a longer period of feeling much better? Yes, I do. I can even count them. There were a lot of setbacks. I think, I think over 200 maybe in the last 5 years. And sometimes I felt really good for weeks, let's say months. And then, for example, when I started creating this community, I felt really good for almost 6 months. And then I thought, okay, I feel ready to create this community, to give everything I have. But sometimes when people start working again, and when I started this community, that means there's a lot of more screen time, planning, arranging things. So a lot of more things than you were used to. And yeah, it's I think it's totally normal when you do too much, when you push yourself too much, that there is a setback. And yeah, I often experience this. Sometimes the setback is a really long setback. Sometimes it was only for a few days. But the most important thing is to not push yourself too much, to notice when you push yourself too much, and to, when you do, try the next time to not reach that level again. But I know it's really hard because every day is different, and on some days your limits are very low, and on other days it feels like there is almost no limit. So finding that balance is just not easy at all. And I think that's why the setbacks are always around the corner. And another question I got was, what do you dream of in the future? Any goals? Of course, I have my goals. What I dream of. When I look to my private life, let's say private life, I am dreaming of um, just a house near the beach and having a great family. That's, I think, the most important thing. And when I look for my goals with this community, I hope that that it will help more people in the future, and that they are really getting their life back on track. That's my biggest goal with this community, and I hope more people are aware of this. That there will be more awareness in general about concussions. That would be so important and so needed. And another question was, what did you study or work before your concussion? I studied hotel management in Maastricht in the Netherlands. And it was a study of 4 years. And I really, really loved my study. I made some good friends there. It was hard work in the first year, but the last 3 years they were okay. And I was really enjoying my life during college. And I started to work afterwards. So I moved to Amsterdam, and this was in 2014. And I started to work in the Hilton hotel in Amsterdam. And then I worked there for a year, and then I switched jobs, and I started working at a travel company. And this travel company is called Surprise Me. For people in the Netherlands, I think they would know what it is. So it is a travel company where you don't know where you go to on vacation. So you will go to the airport, and the only thing you know is, okay, I have to be at the airport at this time. You will get this scratch card with you, and you will find out your destination on the airport. So I was doing the honeymoon trips for this company. And so I was sending people to all kind of places in the world who are going on their honeymoon, and they just didn't know where they go. So that was my last job, and I did this job for 3.5 years. And then I got my accident, and I tried to go back many times, but it wasn't just working for me, because it was really a big office with a lot of people. And I had to work behind my laptop for 8 hours a day, 5 times a week. And this was just too much. And the next question was, do you manage to read books? Well, in the beginning, I didn't. I only listened to books, and I recently started reading again. And it really feels okay when I read a few pages, then it's okay. But if I read too many pages after each other, then it's just too much, and then I feel this pressure behind my eyes. I managed to read them, but just with taking enough breaks. And another question I got was, what is your favorite recovery song? Well, my favorite song is the one from James Arthur with the title Recovery. And I'm really curious about your recovery song as well. So please let me know if you hear this on Instagram. Send me a direct message what your song is. I would love to hear this. I love this question. And another question is, do you still get nauseous, and what helped you with this? I do sometimes, but it's different than the beginning. In the beginning, I was nauseous almost every day. And the only thing that is helping me is chewing on this fresh ginger. I just bought it in a supermarket, and I just cut a little bit of the ginger and just chewing on this fresh ginger. It sounds maybe a little bit disgusting, but you get used to the taste. And really, this was the only thing that was helping me. And at this moment, during this time in my recovery, I only get nauseous when when I'm in a car, or when I'm in an airplane or a boat. So this is helping me, and I always take this with me when I'm traveling. The next question is, how are your mind eyeglasses going? I'm on my fifth pair. Well, first of all, congrats that you are on your fifth one already. I just received my first pair in December, and I started wearing them for on the first day for 5 minutes, and then I could wear them for a few hours a day. But to be honest, the last weeks I am a bit of struggling wearing them longer, and I try to wear them, yeah, sometimes just for 15 minutes, and that's already too much. So I reached out to the Mind Eye last week, and I will talk to them soon about what I can do to improve my wearing time. So at this moment, I'm not sure if it's too early to say if I already feel any improvements, because my eyes just feel more tired because I'm still adjusting to the glasses. And for the people who don't know Mind Eye, it's an institute in Chicago, and it's called the Mind Eye Institute. And there is this doctor, her name is Deborah Zelinsky, and she is helping people with eye problems and TBI. So my biggest symptom at this moment is my eyes, and I it felt really good for me to go there because she has done amazing things to people with a concussion or TBI. And yeah, I really trust that this treatment will help me. So I wear these therapeutic glasses right now. I try to wear them every day, but sometimes I need a break in between. And I can't just wait to hear from her, hopefully this week, maybe next week, so I can move on adjusting to them again. I took a little break right now because, yeah, it's just too much for my eyes, and maybe there's something that I need to change. So I really want to wait her advice before I start again doing something that's not good for me. So I will make another podcast about how it is going with my glasses, and I will share it soon when I know more about it. Another question was, when did you start going to the gym, and what did you start with, cardio or weights? Well, I before my accident, I went to the gym almost 4 times a week. But yeah, after my accident, I couldn't. I tried it many times, tried to go back. I always did this weightlifting, and I tried doing that again after my accident, but it was just too much to handle, and it was just not working out. So I started with just gentle walks outside in nature, and this was helping a lot, but I felt like it wasn't enough exercise for me to feel better from it. So in the beginning, I tried to build up these walks, but then I started trying go back to the gym and do some weightlifting again. But again, it's really, yeah, challenging for your body to work with these weights, and you have to really build it up slowly, because otherwise, yeah, you can get a setback of it. And believe me, I got a lot of setbacks from that. So right now I do this interval training, what I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, and I try to combine it a little bit by just normal cardio and also just a little bit of weightlifting, but not too heavy. And yeah, I think we are all different. And for some people, this will work as well. But for other people, just walking would be enough. Or just some other gentle exercises like cycling or running. But just try to feel what feels best for you, and try to start really slowly, because if you want to build up too fast, it's not really good for your body and your head. And yeah, if you think you feel ready, start going to the gym. You can always try it. But I, during my first year, even just going to the gym was already a lot, because in the gym there are a lot of people. There's music, even the waits to the gym. Because I lived in Amsterdam, I had to go on my bicycle. There were a lot of other bicycles, a lot of traffic, like trams, buses, cars. So even the road to my gym was challenging. So it's also a really good idea to just start at home and just doing some gentle exercises like moving, or you can just type in on Google gentle exercise class. Just doing something is sometimes already enough. It doesn't have to be a really heavy workout, because that's most of the time really too much for your head. And just build it up slowly. That's the only thing I really want to say. Another question: can we talk about women's menstrual cycles and how that is affected by TBI? Well, I am not the one who knows a lot about this subject, but I invited Paul to host a class about this subject, and he hosted one in, I'm not sure if it was October or maybe November, but he did a talk about this in the community about the women's menstrual cycle. You're also able to reach out to him. There's a lot of information shared within the community, but if you have a specific question about this, please let me know. Send me a direct message and I will see if I can help you from there. Another question was, I am wondering if you are able to walk or run normally again. Well, to be honest, I never had a problem walking. The only problem was that it makes me really nauseous or a little bit dizzy, but that's more of my eye problem. So walking was something I struggled with this in the beginning, to be honest. I remember that I sometimes was just at home and I thought, okay, I really need to go outside because you just don't want to sit on the couch all day. And I started with some small walks, but even that sometimes was too much to handle, but just for my head to handle all the impressions. Running was something I couldn't do in the beginning. And at this moment, 5 years after my accident, I am able to walk normally, but running, sometimes I do this, but I notice sometimes that it's just too heavy for my body because when you run, you get a lot of shocks on your neck, on your head, and sometimes it's just too much to manage. So running, I don't do that much. And walking, I just love walking in nature and everything. But if I have to choose for an exercise, running isn't my favorite one. It's more one that's like cycling or rowing or just walking. And the last question is, have you used some kind of professional just to talk about what you're going through? Yes, I did. In the beginning, I had an appointment with my physiotherapist, and I remembered that he was asking questions not only about the physical part, but also the emotional part. And that was the first time that I realized that it was really not only the physical part, but also the emotional part that was really hard. And I talked to him about this, but after I think 8 weeks, my treatment with him stopped. And I realized that his talks really helped me. So I decided to reach out to a psychologist, and she helped me a lot with how I manage the day, just the emotional part, about accepting. And I use some kind of a professionals, and I think it's really needed if you are in something like this, that it's just something you sometimes just can't do alone. And it really helped me to talk to someone. What also really helped me was talking to people in the same situation. So I searched for different support groups. It was really helping to talk about. And I think it's something you really need to do in order to move forward, just to share your story, your tips from other people. It's really healing to do that. So these were all the questions, and I am really happy to receive a lot of questions from you. I love answering them. And if you still have a question for me, please let me know. You can always send me a message on Instagram, just a direct message. You can also reach out to me via my email address. You can find this on my website, and the website is theconcussioncommunity.com. I'm sure you know how to find me, and I would love to get in touch with you. I really, really hope these questions were helpful for you, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I really hope this was helpful for you. If it was, I would love it if you share it on Instagram, in a story or in a post, and tag the Concussion Community in it. I just love to see who's listening. And one last thing, are you listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts? Would you maybe do one small thing in return? Leave a short review? The more reviews this podcast will get, the easier it is for other people to find this podcast and to feel less alone and lost in their journey. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time.